We got a big summer of soccer when it comes to Fox. You got another summer of soccer, a big summer of stars. And look, if I can look half as good as you do in terms of your hair and your product, then I'll be happy, because we're going to be burning the midnight oil and the morning oils. Come on air. At times we will go right from the Euros that are happening over in Germany, segue right into a afternoon, lunch, dinner, whatever, and then into the evening when it comes to Copa America. So every type of soccer need that you ever have is going to be on display and for you. Pull up a chair, have as much as you want. It's going to be fun on and off the field. Both of these tournaments are basically preludes to what is coming in 2026, the 2026 Men's World Cup. The U.S. is going to host it with our friends to the North Canada and our friends to the South Mexico. But this summer you have the European championships, which we'll call the Euros, happening over in Germany, which we are broadcasting on Fox. And so you have, teams like France with Kylian Mbappe, England with Harry Kane and Jude Bellingham. By the way, Portugal with potentially the last dance when it comes to Cristiano Ronaldo, and the host Germany, and Germany's Germany. And that's to crown the champion of Europe. And then over here, we have the Copa America. Now, traditionally, Copa America is for South America to crown the title of South America. But we are hosting that tournament, and as the United States, we are one of the guest teams. So 16 different teams having that tournament. So potentially, by summer's end, your United States national team could be the champions of South America. That would be awesome.
I imagine that would be a first time. So you've got all goes without saying, but you've got all the best and the most popular, the most famous players in the entire world playing in one of these two tournaments.
Yep. So I mentioned all the stars and all the big teams when it comes to the Euros over in Germany. Then you bring it back to Copa America. And like I said, when you're tuning into Fox and myself and others are screaming and yelling, we got unfair. Okay, not for nothing, but arguably the greatest player ever to play the game, and Lionel Messi leading his Argentina team, defending Copa America, and the first time we will see him since in a competitive tournament since becoming a world champion with Argentina. Oh, you also have Brazil. Brazil's Brazil. Vinny Jr., arguably one of the best, not arguably, one of the best players playing today, and he's bringing his Brazil team in. Then you obviously have the United States and these types of teams, but then you have Uruguay and these Ecuadors and these Colombias that are very, very good. And all of these teams that are here in the United States for this summer's tournament are also getting literally the lay of the land for 2026, when they're all going to come back here and we're going to have a big old party. The stories that we are going to see go beyond the actual goals, go beyond the actual winning and losing. There will be incredible stories that involve the individual players and their backgrounds that we will certainly tell. There will be incredible stories that involve the actual teams. There will be incredible stories of the host countries, whether it's the United States here or Germany over hosting the Euros. And we will tell every single one of those. We will have all of our linear productions, so you can tune into Fox and FS1 and get the games that you want. But we also have, I'm coming to you from our digital studios over here, so we're going to be cranking out the content every single day. Like I said, from morning till night, no sleep until the end of these tournaments.
I would imagine it's very important that we have a good performance, a good showing in 2026. So what do we look for now in Copa America, Alexi?
I think this is a really crucial summer for Greg Berhalter, the head coach of the United States men's national team, and for this group. And this group, let's be honest, we call them kind of a golden generation, given the talent that they have, the potential that they have, but also the depth of talent that exists. And this is a generation that has been given everything. I don't begrudge them that. It's wonderful. It makes an old guy like me feel great. It warms the cockles of my old redheaded American heart. But with that comes higher expectations. And this group has yet to really fully achieve something that hasn't been done in the past. Because keep in mind, a U.S. team has participated in Copa America before, and they've gone to the semifinal twice in the past. So there is a high level that this team has to hit. And I think in a certain sense, when this summer is done, hopefully, if it goes well, you should have either a renewed or a new appreciation and ultimately a respect and a belief that this team is heading in the direction come 2026, because ultimately this is about winning a men's World Cup. Well, I think that the things that happen this summer can lead to the success that comes in 2026.
Given the talent on some of the other countries' teams and the talent that the American team has, like you just mentioned, are they capable of reaching a semifinal or possibly even going further in Copa America?
This U.S. team right now is certainly capable of doing what has been done in the past and reaching a semifinal. But you got the likes, like I said, of Brazil and Argentina and Uruguay and Colombia, and these really elite types of teams that are licking their chops at the opportunity to win this tournament. And if they have to go through the U.S. in the United States, that's fine. They will certainly do that. But I think, again, what you want to see from this U.S. team is an ability to compete and compete consistently and to beat, and that's important, to beat the elite teams of the world, because that's the only way that you're going to win a men's World Cup. And so when they come up to against these teams in a competitive situation in a tournament, they have to step up. And this is a team under Greg Berhalter, again, that I tell you needs to kind of live up to these expectations that we have. And I think that they can, but it remains to be seen whether they will.
Is that the next step, Alexi, where we've shown that, the guys can go out there and they can hang, they can not be embarrassed? Is the next step, though, showing you can beat those elite teams?
Yeah, I think we've moved beyond just not being embarrassed. And
Right.
if we're still there, then there are problems. But when you talk about the likes of Christian Pulisic, who's playing over at AC Milan, Weston McKennie, Yunus Musa, Timothy Weah, these types of players, Matt Turner, there are great players from an American perspective that are playing at some of the great leagues and some of the great teams in the world. And so they're no longer boys. All right. This is a team that we have seen grow up. This generation has grown up. They are men. Well, start acting like men and living up to the potential, because if not, then it's just going to be, yeah, they were really good, or maybe were they that good? I think that this team is worthy of our attention and worthy of our belief and worthy of calling them special. But until they actually do it on the field, the jury's out.
On paper, is it undoubtedly the most talented team that we've ever had as Americans?
I think on paper, and again, I go back to all of the opportunities and all of the pathways that have been afforded this team. I mean, I'm talking to you today because of what happened way back in the 1900s when I was running around in 1994, the summer of 1994. I had to play in a World Cup in order to get an opportunity to, for example, go play in Europe. Yeah. We have young players today in America that aren't even playing yet for their MLS team, their Major League Soccer team, that are being given opportunities and are being brought over to Europe to some great teams over there. That's wonderful. That's improvement, and that's success, and that's what you want from an American soccer perspective. But now comes the expectation with all of these players that are playing at such a high level. Now it's got to translate into the national team, and ultimately winning a World Cup, a men's World Cup, because we've done it from the women's side, but winning a men's World Cup, it would be important. Is it a panacea? Does it solve everything? No. But I'll tell you what, I'd much rather find out what it is. And I'd much rather see a world and a landscape where the men's national team from the United States is world champions than not.
Are you confident that you will see that sometime in the near future? If it's not 2026, I mean, sometime over the next 10 to 15 years, will we see that?
Look, I'm 53 years old. I hope they do it before I kick on and or move on, and I have a belief that they will do it. But, this is a labor of love, but it's still a labor. And I got to say, as a 53-year-old and having seen how far we've come, I think it's also important to have some perspective in how far we have come in a relatively short period of time. But you don't rest on your laurels. And I guess it's, call it American exceptionalism or, arrogance or whatever it is. We want to be world champions. Whatever we do in any sport, we want to be the best. And the fans out there, whether they're soccer fans or not, they expect the best. And so in order to get as many fans and bring as many people into the tent as possible, you have to give them something. And what you are giving them, hopefully, is success. And what looks like success will being able to compete with the best in the world, and ultimately someday, and hopefully, like I said, it's in my lifetime, being able to call yourselves world champions.
All right, I'm going to let you go off of this. What's the final message? In 4 days, starting on Friday, you're not going to sleep much. What's the message to soccer fans out there before we have these two great tournaments all again going down on Fox Sports, Alexi?
Well, listen, we live in interesting times, don't we? And this whole narrative, especially surrounding Caitlin Clark right now, is amazing from a soccer perspective, because one thing from a soccer perspective, an American soccer perspective, that we have guarded against and tried not to be is gatekeepy, right? And elitist and snobby. We want as many people into the soccer tent as possible. And I don't care how you get there. You like washboard abs from the soccer players out there? Bring it on in. You like good looking people or the hair or whatever it is? It doesn't matter. Whatever your reason is, we got room for you. And once you get in, you know what? It is warm. It is beautiful. It is welcoming. and we will never, ever push you away. And one of the quickest ways and easiest ways and warmest ways to get in is in a summer of soccer with these types of tournaments. And you will see the pageantry, you'll see the passion, you will see the music, you will see the celebration, you will see the pride in so many different cultures, especially when it comes to the melting pot that the United States is, when it comes to Copa America. And you'll also see the pride over in Germany with what's happening with the Euros. So it's just going to be a fun time to celebrate this game, and through this game, and maybe through the lens of this game, celebrate your country and your culture.